Hello, everybody. Let's make sure everything is working okay. It looks like it is. Hello, Miss Nunya. None of your business. I love it. Sherry, welcome. Kimmy, welcome. It's so nice to see you guys here. I need to take a deep breath again because Jody, how we doing? Kimberly, good to see you. Uh, Out of nowhere came the craziest storm. Like the wind started picking up as if we were in Kansas and Toto's going to get blown away. All the patio furniture started flying around. Our grill went flying across the patio. The wind, anyway, the skies turned completely black. There's a song like that in The Wizard of Oz, isn't there? The wind began to twitch and hitch. Anywho, so I was outside. I'm all like windblown now, trying to catch everything before it blew away. Yeah, it is so crazy here, Kimmy. It's just, yeah. So there I was outside trying to catch the patio furniture before it all blew away. But the interesting thing about that is that I was making my final notes, which are never final because at the very end, I was told I was going to get dictated to more at the end, but I was finalizing some of the things that were coming through from Scout. And that's when the storm picked up. So Jody, not sure about that. If Scout was bringing in that storm. I know that the other animal that we're reading for tonight is Tesla. And we are, I did not get a sense that the storm was coming from Tesla, but I got some really, really cool insights from Tesla for everybody, not just for Tesla's human. But let's go ahead and formally get started here. So I'm just going to take a nice deep breath, and I would really just welcome you guys to join in this with me. Just a way to start things off, to calm down. For me in particular, have the storm and the readings, and there's all kinds of good stuff going on. I get to go on a beautiful vacation this coming week. I leave on Wednesday to spend a wonderful, I don't even know how long yet, time with my granddaughter. And for the very first time, her Nana is going to get to see her. So I'm so excited about all of this. So all of these beautiful, wonderful flowing emotions that I receive from our animal companions, the email that Tesla's human sent me still makes me cry. I'm still crying, still crying, Terry. The email that Terry sent, and I don't know if Terry is a guy or a girl, but just a beautiful email. And so I would just invite you all to ground with me for a moment. And by grounding, it is just reminding ourselves that we are here on earth for a reason. We are spiritual beings in a human body, and all of us in this group have come together because we are united by the animal companions who have shared our life. So let's just for a moment, take a moment. And if you can, if you're someplace where you can close your eyes, won't take but a couple seconds. Of course, if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, please don't close your eyes. I just want you to take a few deep breaths. If you can, have both feet on the ground. Nice deep breath in. Oh, it feels very good to breathe in fresh, calming energy. And as you exhale, if there's anything that you've carried in with you this evening, anything at all, whatever stressors, okay, so it's April 15th here in the US, any stressors that you may be carrying for the next 30, 45 minutes, you don't need them. There's nothing you can do in that period of time. Let them all just float away. So breathing in, beautiful, lovely, fresh energy, releasing out with our breath anything that does not serve us, knowing that the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you choose to call the beautiful divine creator, has the ability to take those things from us, carry them for us, transmute them into something beautiful. We are here this evening to spend a beautiful time together, to talk about animals and past lives, and to make connections with Scout and Tesla. And as a result, with all of our animal companions. That is part of what Tesla shared about all of our animal companions coming together as one. Okay, so there we go. Now you can relax, just chill out, relax, and let's have a good time. And let me say hello to everybody. Sharon, how you doing? Good to see you. Michelle, good to see you. Thank you for wishing me the wonderful trip. I'm going to scroll back up here for a second. Are we talking about the storm? Everyone's just saying hello to each other. And somebody says she loves storms. I'm guessing that is Scout. And I have some stuff. I can't wait to share some of the information about Scout. But first, let's talk about what you guys asked for. So I reached out to, first of all, I reached out to the folks who are members. So thank you Sharon and Kimmy, and Nunya, you guys offered some great suggestions. Kathy, it's nice to see you. Caroline, good to see you. Hey, Caroline, your little pet's coming up soon too. Reminding myself not to get distracted by the comments, but it's so much fun to interact with you guys. So in the members group, we are going to be doing a Zoom for those of you who are members. For those of you who are not, if you want to become one, just click the little join button and you should be able to get in. If you've been having trouble, I can't figure out why there's any reason for anybody to have trouble joining, and there's no like 1-800 customer service number for YouTube. So if anybody is familiar with YouTube memberships, I know that this is a relatively new thing for me. My channel has been active, like I created this channel, I don't know, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. And if you were to scroll back through some of the old videos, don't do it. I recommend not doing it. But I didn't get focused and understand why I was called to create this channel until just recently, like January. So bear with me as I do try to work through things. And if anybody does know anything about YouTube memberships and why some people can join and some people can't, please let me know so that I can get some of the people in who really want to be part of the group. Regardless, we are going to be holding a live Zoom for those of you who would like to meet in person. Not everybody wants to do that. There are some people who like to jump on, who like to meet in person. And there are some people who like to just virtually meet, which would be like through Zoom. And there are others who don't even interact on our comments or within the group itself. And that's okay. We are all individuals. We're all unique, and we all handle things a little bit differently. So know that however you wish to interact is totally good for me. All right. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, hi, Terry. How are you? Tesla's your baby girl. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you were able to make it tonight, because I didn't even open the email till this evening. And for those of you who may be watching one of these videos for the very first time, we've got a whole crew of people that have now been following along since the very first video back in the beginning of January. And I do have some stuff here for you, Terry, when I get to Tesla's reading. Thanking you for the beautiful email that you sent, like beautiful, that still has me in tears. Just a beautiful email that I absolutely, I fell in love with Tesla as much as, and I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but I mean, literally, I fell in love with you too when I read your email. Okay. So the things that came up, we started to talk about the membership group. I put it out to the members first, and this week I will put it out to everybody else who has not. You don't have to become a member in order to be an active part of this community. It is not a requirement. I will put the same message out to the rest of the group. If there are any topics that you would like me to cover, if there's anything at all that you think that we should talk about as a group that would be fun and interesting and help us in the healing process, that I could talk about on Monday evenings, I'd be happy to. So the one that came up most, this came up from like 4 different people. And that is Michelle on your iPhone. Still trying to figure out. Caroline, there has to be somebody I can contact, right? Phone or computer, using an Android. Okay, so I will make a concerted effort to reach out to even the YouTube community. I'm sure there's someone like us regular people that are doing these videos that has something about how to join in the membership. So let's see. We'll make that one of my priorities. That's on my little to-do list. So I will put out this week to the rest of the group a request for suggestions. So what I'll do is create a post. It'll be a post in the little tab that says community. You click that tab and I'll put a post there, and then you can reply underneath the post with your suggestions for things that you want to talk about. And this week there were 4 different people, and it wasn't just 4 different people. It seemed to be a topic that came up repeatedly this week, including when I did a private reading. That's the other thing I'm going to also announce. Now that I've got well over 100 of these mini readings done, I feel confident enough now to start offering private one-to-one meetings where we just meet on Zoom and have a one-to-one session for you and your animal companion. But I'll put out more about that. So it came up with one of the readings that I did this week. Same thing, past lives. The person's specific question was about the past life of their pet. And that's what, there was a couple of you who said, I'm just curious. I'm curious if my pet had a past life, if we were together in a past life. Do they have past lives? Are they always animals? Can they sometimes be humans? And oh my gosh, these are such fun questions. They're great questions because I think they're questions that all of us human beings have. At one point or another, it has crossed all of our minds. Is this all there is? Like, is this really all there is? And when we look around our planet and some of the events that go on around us, when we look at our lives and sometimes wonder, if this is really all there is. But then there's always that little sneaking suspicion that there's more. And I'm really going to go, if you guys want me to go down the rabbit hole, I will, because I can go as deep as you want me to go. I have done all of the, if it's been mentioned as a metaphysical, spiritual, psychic thing, I have researched it. I've done it. Oh, orbs. That's the other thing. I've been doing all the study about orbs. I will bring you more about orbs, and I'll bring a little bit of it, up tonight, because there's so much hooey out there, and I have to discern. I try to be very discerning about what feels real and what does not feel real. Do the rabbit hole. Kimmy wants me to go down the rabbit hole about Akashic records. I think that was you, Kimmy, that asked about Akashic records, if I'm not mistaken. So we will get to that. I'd like to, there's a whole, as we are all on different levels, exploring all of these different spiritual things. We came together on this channel as a group of individuals supporting each other after the loss of a pet. And the channel was created specifically to help people cope with the loss of their animal companion, to help work through some of the emotions, to help understand, to get past some of the really intense grief that we've had. And it became something more because I'm actually, since I'm an animal Reiki master, and that has led me to be able to communicate and connect with animals here and on the other side. That's when I started exploring and diving into all of the different psychic things, because I think that we have way more than our five senses. We've got way more than our five senses. And one of the more esoteric things, one of the more deeper spiritual things that is not readily taught here in the Western world is about the Akashic records. So that's one of the things. Akashic records is the memory of the universe. It's the memory of God, if you want to think about it in terms of God. And I try not to get overly religious one way or the other. I understand that we've all got different religious beliefs and different religious backgrounds. I try to respect all of that. I call myself a recovering Catholic, and that's nothing against Catholicism, because there are some people who receive beautiful benefits from the ritual and traditions of Catholicism. For me, it has gone way beyond that. So I have taken a very deep dive into everything, into every possible thing. Like, yeah, we'll talk more and more about that. But as people are becoming more comfortable with my style and more comfortable with some of the information I share, then we'll take a dive into some of the deeper things. And maybe on that Zoom call, we can really get into some of those things. Down the rabbit hole we go. Okay, there you go. So let's see, open to it all. Michelle says, so hard with that. It for all of us. That's one of the things that came through, and I'll just jump ahead a little bit. It's one of the things that came through from Tesla, because Tesla's human experienced one of those profound depths of grief. I know that when my Lucy, Jack, and Winston crossed, and I share their stories all the time. And then Jake, who was one of my foster dogs, they all crossed because they were at the same, essentially within an 18-month period, all four of those animals crossed. And it was a learning experience for me. I could have just gone into the depths of despair. I knew, my logical brain knew that the age of my animal companions, and Jack and Lucy were together since puppies. So I was with them their entire life. And they were with each other their entire life. Winston was a rescue and Jake was a foster, but they were all approximately the same age. So my logical brain knew what was going to happen, knew that at some point their little physical bodies would give out, and knew that it would be within a relatively quick period of time. But Lucy, I credit Lucy with everything. When Lucy crossed, and she allowed me to spend, months actually, from the time she first went into her coma, she stayed with us for another 3 months. She allowed me to understand more about the dying process. She allowed me to understand what it meant to approach end of life. And then when she did cross, she opened all the doors for me, not only to be able to connect with animals on the other side, but to understand that dying is not the end, that the end of the physical body is not the end of their soul or spirit. And we all know, so this was the message that came through for Terry in particular, is that all of us here in this group, we are united together in the loss of our animal companions. We not only understand, we know from the depths of our own soul, we understand exactly what you're going through. And we're here to support each other and lift each other up. And so are our animals. They're here to teach us. I think more than anything, I think there are many reasons why their lives are shorter than ours. Why aren't they with us the whole time? Why can't we just have our animal companion here by our side forever? I mean, until our little bodies give out. And I think there are many reasons for it, but one of them, I'm certain, is to teach us that we have been conditioned to believe that death is the end, that when our body is over, we could go to heaven or hell. If you've been raised in at least like me in the Judeo-Christian belief, we live, and depending on how we lived here on earth determines whether or not we go to heaven or hell. And animals have shown me just exactly how off track that is. I don't necessarily say wrong, because there are people who believe that. And I think if you believe it, you may experience that particular thing. But animals are here to show us that death is not the end, that our souls continue, that we have been here before, that we go on. We've been all kinds of places before. We've talked a little bit about reincarnation. Go back a few weeks when I did a video about reincarnation, and we started to talk about this, but we'll talk about it even more this evening. Okay. I'm going to take a quick peek at the comments. And a friend passed later. Okay, still painful. I totally understand that as well. Kimmy, thank you. And I feel like I'm the catalyst. Like, I have no idea. I can't begin to tell you what prompted me to create this, other than the animals. So I may be the voice, and I may be the one who's figuring out how to figuring out how to use YouTube. I'm a low-tech woman in a high-tech world. And so as I figure it out, it's the animals who are doing it all. They're doing it all. Okay. So, yep. And this is even the same for people, by the way. During the time that my animals passed, so did my father. My father crossed in August of 2021, right? August of 2021. And I took solace in knowing that even though I didn't necessarily feel left behind, because at that point I was already experiencing my own spiritual growth in that area. I'm no longer, as I've said 100 times, I'm no longer afraid of death. It doesn't frighten me in the least. I just have no fear of it, because I know that everyone who I've ever known here, everyone who I've ever known in a past life, is waiting for me on the other side. And when my father passed away, one of the ways that I was able to manage with Jack crossing in December, shortly after my father, was that I knew my father, the dog lover, was there waiting. My father was there with my other dogs, waiting to greet Jack. And I talk to them all the time. I hold them in my heart all the time. So I'm a believer all the way. I'm all in. I'm all in, and I will share it with as many people as want to listen. And for those of you who decide that, it's all bunk, that's okay. That is totally okay, because we're all going to get there at some point. And on the other side, I'll be happy to be the first one to greet you and pat you on the back and welcome you with open arms. So let's talk about pets and past lives. So pets and past lives. Do they have past lives? I'm going to give you the easy answer, which is yes. And then we're going to do a little fun thing tonight. I'm going to take you on a little journey. We'll do a little guided visualization. And even if you're not, like, there are some people who don't do well with visuals. Like when I say close your eyes and imagine that you see a door, and you're like, when I was in middle school, I had a teacher, and his name was Mr. Edgett. And Mr. Edgett actually went on to become a very famous, oh, I have to remember this, Diane. If Diane watches this, watches the replay, Mr. Edgett went on to become a professor at Widener University in Pennsylvania. And he became a professor of history, but in the most unique way. He did cemetery studies. And anyway, there's a point to this. When I was in, it was technically middle school. We called it junior high at the time. And when I was in his class, he was going to lead everybody on a guided visualization. And we were doing an experiment in hypnosis. So we had to have all these permission slips signed by our parents that he was allowed to hypnotize us, that kind of stuff. And he's taking us on a guided visualization. And he gets to the point when we close our eyes and the whole class is really concentrating. We're really into it. And he says to the class, now, I want you to visualize a candle. I'm like, oh, cool. I can see that candle. I could see a candle. It was really like, it was an old fashioned candle. I could even picture it still in my mind, what came up in my head. And it was on like one of those little brass holders, and the candle was there and the flame was lit. And he's like, now blow out your candle. And I'm like, and my candle, no matter what I did, would not blow out. The whole rest of the class goes on a journey to Greece. I can't get my candle to blow out. So now I can understand that as well. When I ask you to visualize something, if you can't see the picture in your mind, let it go. Just let it go. The only reason that I ask you to create certain visuals is to help you go on a journey. But if you can't like see it in your mind, you can just know it. Just listen to my words and know it, and you'll still receive the same experience as the rest of us. All right, past lives. I will take you on a little journey to see if you can see your pet in a past life. There's this thing called past life regression and future life regression. And I'm not a hypnotist. I'm not some hypnotherapist. I have no experience like, guiding people into past lives. Like you lay on a couch and I take you into a deep hypnosis. None of that. This is a story. It's so easy. We don't need that. And you don't need to go back into your past life to clear karma. You don't need to go back into your past life to get forgiven for something that you did, like when you robbed somebody as when you were in a past life. Not necessary. That's all done. That's all water under the bridge. The old-fashioned thoughts about karma are so wrong. Animals have shown me that. Okay, but past lives. So the little story will help you see your animal companion in a past life. And that's how easy they have shown me to do it. Tonight, this came to me as I was making my notes for Tesla and Scout. All of a sudden, I realized we can just do this little regression. I can take you back and you can pick a door. There's going to be 3 doors. You can pick one and see your animal companion in a past life. And we can turn it on its head. I've done this in one of the classes. I turned it on its head and made it a future regression. And it was something that was practiced by a woman named Dolores Cannon. If anybody really wants to go down the rabbit hole, look up Dolores Cannon. And she did that. She did the same thing. She just tells a little story, and she takes you on the story, and you pick a door, and then you see where you see yourself in 1, 3, 5 years. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So let's talk about the actual past life of pets. So what could the past life of our pets be? Some of the questions that came up were, do they have a past life? Are they always animals? Are they always the same kind of animal? And are they, or can they sometimes be humans? And can humans sometimes be animals? The answer to all those questions is yes. We started to talk about this in the last reincarnation video, and it's hard for us to wrap our minds around just because we're taught something completely different. We are not taught in the Western world, we are not taught that reincarnation is a thing. It's not part of the Bible. It's not part of Christianity. I'm not as familiar with Judaism and the Torah, which I believe is just the Old Testament, but I can be wrong about that. Reincarnation is not taught. But it used to be taught way back in ancient times when Christianity was first evolving. It was called, in the Catholic Church, it was called the transmutation of souls. I think that's what it was called. And I'm going to have to go back and look it up. But then at some point along the way, a pope said, no, 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 we don't reincarnate. And they took that teaching away. But in the Tibetan world and in the Eastern traditions, it's natural. I mean, people don't even give it a second thought. There would never be a question like this in that part of the world where the tradition is that reincarnation is perfectly normal. Of course, they go down their own rabbit holes with karma and coming back and clearing karma and all that kind of stuff. But so reincarnation, yes, we reincarnate and we can come back. This is where it gets a little hippy dippy, hairy fairy. And I will tell you from my personal experience. Do I remember my past life? I don't. Do I remember? Do I remember like anything specific from a past life? I don't think so. Like, I can't say I know for certain I was Joan of Arc. That's the other thing that I also laugh about. And that Scout, when I started talking about reincarnation, if I could hear a cat snicker, I heard Scout snicker because like all of us humans want to come back as somebody famous, right? We all want to come back as Napoleon or Cleopatra or you name it, or Marilyn Monroe, or that's who we come back as. And there have been so many average folk, just like me and you, that that we could all be who knows what. Okay, so let's talk about what they can come back as. Are animals and human, when our souls, let's talk about soul, when our soul is no longer in need of its physical body, or when the physical body is in no longer need of a soul, and we go back to the other side of the veil, which is the only term that I have for it. So we are no longer in this life. We're no longer here on earth. We've gone back to pure positive energy. When we go back there, we have the ability to do anything we want. Anything we want. Let me make myself a couple notes here as all this stuff comes to me. Sometimes it comes so fast that I forget. Contracts, agreements, partners. Okay. So we can do anything we want, anything at all. We can come back as an animal. We don't have to come back in the future. We can come back in the past. Time is completely fluid on the other side. There is only here on earth is it linear. It's very linear. And Albert Einstein is the one who taught us that time is relative, but time is really relative. And when we are no longer in our physical bodies on earth, time becomes so, it's just different. It's completely different. And somebody asked about communication, and I can't remember which one of you asked about communicating with animals. When we cross to the other side, are we able to communicate with them better than we are here? So here it takes a little bit of effort. Here it takes some effort for us to make this connection across with a soul that's on the other side. When we get to the other side, if you've ever read anything about near-death experiences, communication is instantaneous. And even saying the word instantaneous is too slow for how fast the communication is. There is just an immediate knowing. And you'll both have the same knowing. You'll both have the same exact knowing. You and your animal companion, when you meet again on the other side, will know everything. You'll have re-access to all universal knowledge. You will know everything. But when you incarnate into a physical form again, you won't be able to, like, our brains can't hold all that information. A physical brain can't hold the universe's knowledge. The physical brain can't hold everything that God knows. But if you were to get all of us together, we would know everything. And on the other side, that's the way it is. We all know everything. And then we make certain choices. We make choices about how we want to experience ourselves, how we want to experience anything. And I can only talk right now because my human brain only remembers this lifetime. I can't remember what I was going with that. My human brain only remembers this lifetime. I don't know. But we would choose how to come back but we would leave behind all that knowledge. So we would make a choice of how we wanted to return. And then we would have a finite amount of knowledge, and we would start exploring and having fun. It's like it's like Earth is a giant Disney World. and we've come here to experience and have fun. So I might choose to come back. I've said this before. I would love to come back as a hawk or an eagle. I would love that. I would just, even if it was for a day, I don't care how long it is. I would just love to be able to experience that, to know what flight was like. And our animals are the same way. So a cat or a dog or a horse may decide that they want to experience what it's like to stand straight, to be able to speak. And we decide that. All the souls on the other side, we decide, okay, this is what we want to do. Here's the interesting thing about the past life of pets. Your past life with your animal companion has gone on forever. There was no beginning. There is no end. It's been forever. And that's infinity is a concept we can't wrap our minds around. But your animal companion and you and other animal companions and you and other people and you've all been part of this, of the same collective. And sometimes you want to partner with somebody new, but someone like your animal companion has been there forever. And you've sometimes switched places. Maybe you have been the dog and they have been the human. Maybe you have been the mouse. Maybe you have been the whatever animal companion it might be, but you've all played different roles throughout time because it is the universe experiencing itself. And everything that you're going through right now, every emotion that you feel, from the depth of despair to the highest, beautiful, most profound level of love that you can imagine, that is God exploring, understanding, learning. I truly believe, now what I've been taught since I was a little girl, that God is perfect. I was also taught that God was an old man sitting on a cloud, ready to throw lightning bolts down at us for the slightest transgression. I understand now that God is this beautiful, amazing being of love that realized that it knows everything. And what fun is that? So if I already know everything, how about I go to a place where I forget everything and I can explore and I can experience and I can feel what it's like to swim in an ocean. I can feel what it's like to pet a dog. I can feel what it's like to have a cat give me a bump. I can all of these things. I can feel sad. I can feel sad and know that in that sadness, I want to be uplifted. And so I feel this beautiful uplifting and this beautiful love. So getting back to, does your animal have a past life? The answer is yes. Your animal companion had a past life, has a past life, has a future life, and you can see any of them and you can decide together. You can help your animal companion right now. If you were to close your eyes and go into a meditation, not at this particular moment in time, but if you were to close your eyes before you go to sleep tonight, and have a conversation. Let's say I was going to have a conversation with Jack, although Jack has told me something different. Jack has let me know through meditation that he's a very old soul, and his preference would be to stay on the other side as a guardian, as a level of intelligence, as part of the universal one. And I'm totally fine with that. If he has decided that his many journeys have now come to an end. He was a very old soul. A very, very old soul. I knew that when he was here. Some of you guys, I think, have sensed that too. And I welcome the fact that he is now my guardian on the other side. But I already know that Winston is back. I have a sense that Winston is already back because Winston was such a fun, loving little guy. But you can, as you're falling asleep tonight, just reach out to your animal companion. You can call them by name and just ask them to show you who they'd like to be, and then visualize that in your mind. Play with it. Play with it. Think about, and if you want them to come back in this life for you, you can ask them to do that. You can absolutely ask them to do that. They may not want to, but you can request them to do that, and then to let them see you. And you can ask them also to show you, even though I'm going to take you on this little journey, you can ask them to show you who they were, because now they're in the place where they can. When they were here on earth, you could have sat down and meditated together. I've meditated with Gypsy. Gypsy's a wonderful meditator, but she just likes to really chill, and her breath changes just like humans. When she goes into her meditation state, her breath really it takes on this very unique quality. I'll have to see if I can get somebody to film it for me at some point if she lets me. She's very camera shy. But you can ask them to show you who they were in a past life. And here's the thing that you need to do. When I teach animal communication, this is what I teach. The very first thing that pops into your mind is the thing that you have to hang on to. Don't second guess it. Don't question yourself. Don't doubt it, because it is the instant knowing that is the truth. Because it happens before your thinking mind has a chance to jump in and say, well, that's stupid. That's not real. That's all in your head. Write down the very first thing that comes into your mind. And the way that I teach it, well, I teach animal communication, but for this, if you're going to ask your animal companion to give you information before sleep, keep your pen and paper right by your nightstand as you're drifting off to sleep, because that's when the conscious mind lets go and the subconscious mind takes over, and it leaves a little bit of space for your animal companion to come through. You ask them the question that you want to know. So, who were you in a prior life? Did you have a different name in a prior life? Is there anything that you want me to know about your past life? And then go to sleep. Just go to sleep. And when you wake up, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, the first thing you do is the very first thought that pops into your mind, you write that down in your book. You write it down and you'll get the answer, because that is the easiest way for our animals to communicate with us. And I just didn't make that up. There are, for all of us who do this kind of practice, you can go out there and explore and do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. And you'll see it's the easiest way to get information. Okay, past lives, do they come back as humans? You bet they come back as humans. I'm going to give you an example. This is where, and I won't use any names because this person is very private. So I will use no names of pets. I will use no name of the person. But it was a person who I did the private reading for earlier this week. And what came through and that this person validated for me was that they were different. In past lives, they had switched places, that they were twins all the time. They were always twins. They're so much alike. How many times have we seen that, right? How many times have you seen people that look just like their pets and pets that look just like their people? They're twins is what I was told, and that they've switched places more than once, and that the last time they incarnated, it was not here on Earth. And imagine telling somebody that in a reading. I try to keep my readings relatively, I don't know, I want them to be believable, right? I want it to be information that is evidence. And telling somebody that they were an intergalactic being in a prior life, except that the person was 100% on board and said, "I always knew it. I always knew it. I knew it, and my cat knew it, and that is that was this, and it was that easy." And that neither of them were quite pleased with the choices they made this time around. So that the next time that they were going to incarnate together again, and they were going to pick something entirely different. So if that's any validation, just to say that they do or don't have past lives. All right, I'm going to take a quick look at comments, and then we're going to take a little journey into the past life. But I wonder if I want to do our readings first and then do the past life, so that Tesla and Scout can come through if they want to. Is it choices or a life path carved out? Great question. I don't believe in destiny written in stone. My understanding is that we pick a certain path, but that's where free will comes in. So we have choices about how that goes, and we can change those choices anytime we want. One of the things I've explored is this thing called soul contracts. Soul contracts are where before we incarnate here on Earth, we set an agreement for ourselves what we're going to do. But those things are not set in stone. And how do we even know what we're going to experience here until we get here? So I think those things are very fluid, and that there is no contract that is written in stone. And we have choice. We absolutely have choice, and we can change it anytime we want. Anytime we want, we can make a different choice. And we've talked before about jumping different timelines. That's also going down the rabbit hole. But do you think it's the same as our soul circles, that the pets, people we connect with, more than just a reason or a season, that they are always going to be in and out of our lives? Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of where I was going with that. They're going to be, I think that there's a core group, and I have one or two dear friends. They're like the friends who I don't speak to for a year or 18 months, but we pick up right where we left off. And even though one of them may live a continent away, and we haven't spoken in 18 months, there's nothing like there's nothing, when we start to talk, there's nothing missing there. So I think there's probably a core group. And again, until I head over to the other side to confirm everything for you, there's probably a core group of souls that we travel through time with, but then there are other souls who come in and out, and us for them too. We come in and out of their life also. Which does bring me to my beautiful granddaughter, May. I would define myself in this incarnation as a dog person. I fall in love with every single dog I meet. Doesn't matter. I don't care what their personality is. Every single dog I fall in love with. And so I have been, my granddaughter's very little yet. She's still an infant. And I whisper in her ear, puppy, daddy, puppy, puppy, daddy, puppy. And every single time I get back, kitten, kitten. So I suspect that that there's going to be cats in my life in the very near future. Let's see if there's any other questions here. When I was just waking up one morning, I heard my Sparky bark. It was his bark. Yep. Truly, 100%. When you hear those things, when you see those things, take them as real. I forgot to post a picture of the cat in the smoke. Also on my list of things to do for you guys. There's no mistaking there was a cat in the smoke. When you see any of those things, when you see any of the signs, and one of the topics that came up was seeing signs in nature. We're going to get to that probably next week. Trust that it is real. You hear that bark. I feel the dog jump on the bed. I've seen Jack's pee outside. Yes, there's no other way for them to get through to us, which is where the little piece about orbs comes in. Orbs are, and we'll talk more about that in the future as I do a little bit more exploration, but it's the most physical that they can make their energy. We are on Earth. There is gravity on Earth. Earth is meant to be physical. It's meant to be material. And most of the energy, even ghosts, most of the energy just comes through. The best that they can do is for us to see and visually be able to sense is an orb. For the rest of it, it is like sometimes we can feel a change in energy, or you'll feel a change in temperature. It's the only way that they have to get through to us. So use your senses and trust that everything is real. We as humans have a choice to decide to go left or right. We most certainly do. Dogs always give me funny looks or bark at me. Think they have a dozen or so cats around me. It used to be unnerving for me in the beginning. I used to use the analogy of Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost, how she sits in her little room once the gift has been opened in her, or once she has remembered that she has the gift. And then there's all these souls all around her, and they're all talking all the time, and she can't even keep her head on straight. She can't sleep at night and all that. And now I've since understood how to connect with animals and to ask them, to let them know that, sometimes when I'm in the shower, they're not welcome to join me. But I do have a constant sense that they're all around me. And I get a sense of knowing. There are so many dogs, same thing. I'll pass them in the street, and I'll just get a sense that I've known them forever. And they'll approach me like we've been besties forever. And yeah. Please do the reading. Okay. All right, Terry, you got it. All right. So I think if I didn't answer enough about past life, we're going to do the regression. I'm going to take you on the little journey to meet your animals. They have had past lives. They have future lives. The last thing I'm going to say about that is that go back to the thing about time, that time is not linear. I think I still have this. I used this analogy before. This little, my string just came out. So, all right, that life's over. But it's like an accordion here. And our lives pass through these accordions, and sometimes it's all one. It's all us right there, but it has passed through so many lives, and there's no future and there's no past, and even that doesn't do it justice. It's like this. There are so many layers and so many. It's so different, and we have the choice to jump anywhere we want. And here's going down the rabbit hole. You can go back into your past life and change something. You can something that you do here. You can change what was something perhaps sad or harmful in your past life, and it shifts everything going forward. So even future you has changed, but that's really going down the rabbit hole. Okay, so let's do the readings. Terry, you want to go first? I will do Terry first, and then we will go ahead and do Scout. So for Terry, this is for Tesla. Came out a little bit differently than what I expected. When I normally do these readings, what I do is ask for some piece of evidence that lets me know that that I can share with the animal's human, that lets them recognize that it's really them. And I got a little bit of that, I think, but more than anything, I think Tesla wants to put your mind at ease. And so I got lots of beautiful, loving thoughts that I want to share with you. So Tesla, first thing I did want to say one more time, I made myself this specific note, Terry, to let you know how much your email meant to me. Just one of the most beautiful emails I've ever received. And I'm so grateful that you were so open and honest with your feelings, and then also the kind things you had to say. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. If I can share a little bit about what you shared with Tesla, some of the things that Tesla's human felt, I think we have all felt. We have all felt this. I promise we are with you. We are with you 100% in thinking that we failed our pet in some way, that we failed our animal companion in some way, and that when they passed, that their passing was not what we hoped for. Their passing was not, well, not that we even hoped that they would ever pass, but we wanted it to be something different than it was. And one of the things that you shared was that your hopes and dreams died with her. Sorry, it's going to make me cry. That your hopes and dreams died with her, that your sense of adventure died with her, that she rode with you everywhere, she went with you everywhere. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody in this whole group who's with us right now, and everybody who watches this in the future, because there's no such thing as time. It's actually, time is fluid. We know, we understand, we felt the same thing. And for some of us, it was just the opposite. Winston being the example that I thought I had to deal with Winston. I knew that he was very sick. I knew that he was going to cross, and I thought that he would sit in my lap and that he would allow me the honor of holding him as he crossed. And he chose to cross when I wasn't home. And that was equally devastating. So if it can be any consolation is probably not even the right word, but to know that what an honor to have the beautiful Tesla cross in your arms. Just beautiful, beautiful to have her cross in your arms. Sadly, bittersweet, beautiful, but an honor nonetheless. So let me tell you a little bit more about Tesla. Tesla, you did not fail her, first of all. More than anything else, she is saying so loud and clear that you're forgiven for something that doesn't need to be forgiven, that she is not gone. She is not gone. And I'm going to show you something else too. As I was doing this reading, I realized I'm staring at my little water mug. And this is how I picture Tesla now. See that beautiful blue wolf? Just a stunning blue wolf is what I saw, surrounded by all these crystals. Tesla is one magical dog. Tesla has been by your side, by the way, by your side forever and ever. As a dog, I get a sense that Tesla has always been your partner as a dog. And that's why it feels so tough this time around, because you know that you are here. You have to stay here for another period of time, and she already gets to cross to the other side. But she is with you on the journey. So there is something that you are still supposed to do, and she is right there with you to do it. Like, get in the car, get in the truck, I was going to say motorcycle. That doesn't make much sense, does it? Unless you have like one of those little things on the side. Wherever it is you're supposed to go, that's what's coming through for me right now. Wherever it is that you're supposed to go, she's supposed to go with you, and she will be with you. She will be right there with you. And you will know it. You will absolutely know it. You are her best partner. That's the other thing she said to me. You are the best partner for all eternity. You are the partner that she picked for all eternity. I see her as magnificent now. When I asked for just some information about her personality, that kind of thing, I got that. I'm sorry. Why, Elaine? Why do you not bring tissues with you when you start these videos? Let's see if I have a tissue in my book bag here. Of course not. All right. Well, we'll just have to manage. So I asked her for a little bit of information about herself, and I did get the sense that she's a little bit shy, or she was like she would be shy the first time that she met a person, but then the second time it was like they were best friends, even if it was just a stranger on the street. All right, hang on. I'm gonna have to get a tissue. Just a minute. 2 seconds. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. All set. So I'm curious if Tesla had a runny nose, because why all of a sudden that's exactly what, like, it wasn't just from the tear, it was the runny nose, and you know how sometimes how irritating that must be for little doggies who can't use a tissue. That at first she was shy, but right after she met you, if she saw you for a second time on the street, that she was like a best friend. She was like a little bestie. Look into her eyes. When I looked into her eyes, the picture that you sent me, there was an immediate connection there. I know she was part husky, and so that's probably where the beautiful blue eyes came from, but that's also why I saw that magnificent blue wolf. I see her on the other side as one. It's not even, and even that picture doesn't do it justice. How I see her is just this beautiful, beautiful, strong, healthy, muscular, but life animal, a dog, like not an imaginary, but like a unicorn dog, but not a unicorn dog. If you can get where I'm going with that she has now got a magical body and a magical being. If you look into her eyes, all you need to do is look at her picture. Look into her eyes, and you will be able to see her soul. She sees your soul all the time. She's with you all the time. But if you want to know that she is still with you, look into her eyes. Doesn't matter if it's a photo. You will see her. She will come to you by looking in her eyes. And then she's the one, Tesla is the one who shared the information with me that all of our animal companions, everybody here who is on this live stream right now, or who is going to watch in the future, all of our animals and all the animals that I've done readings for over the past 18 months, they've all come together, not necessarily as one like animal, but they've all come together to help all of us. We don't have to just reach out to our animal companion. Tesla is letting you know that there is a whole group of other souls that have come together, and it's like they had a little reunion, like we are. It's like they've all been introduced. This is what I wrote. It's like they've all been introduced, and they're all working together in partnership with us, and they're rising us all up together. So all of us who are feeling sadness, and Tesla. Man, I see Tesla at the head of the group. Even though I just met Tesla this afternoon, I see her as a leader. I see her as pulling everybody together and helping us to rise up. Okay, the best partner for all eternity. And what else? What else did I write? I can't understand some of my writing. I'm sorry. Hang on while I decide what I see what I wrote here. I have a huge thank you and underline. She is thanking you. And I can't read why she's thanking you. Soul connection, unbearable. Oh, that it's unbearable that's exactly what happened. When I mentioned to her that her loss, her crossing was unbearable, and it's hard for us to go on. And I don't know the circumstances of her crossing. I don't know if it was from illness or age or something else that occurred that happened. All I know is that she crossed in your arms, and she's saying the soul connection is unbreakable. Your soul connection with her is unbreakable. There isn't anything. There is no distance. There is no time. There is nothing that can change that. She has been, always will be your soul. And she's not using the word mate. She's using the word connection. She is connected to you, tethered to you, even now. There's no breaking that connection. She does not want you to be sad. She wants to go explore with you. It keeps coming back again and again, whatever it is. And I'm sorry that I don't know you. I don't know what that is, but there's some adventure that you decided you can't do now because she's not with you. And she is saying, do it, do it, do it. Something is going to happen on that adventure that's even bigger than would have happened if she was still with you. And that's what's coming through for Tesla. So please, she's saying, please know that you are, you're forgiven. She's not gone. You did not fail her. You did not fail her. I underlined that as well. You're the best partner for all eternity. Look into her eyes and see her in the magnificent way that I see her. Okay. What dreams may come always. I can't say that I've ever watched it all the way through. That you have chills. Okay. Yeah. There's some things, right? And that's why I said Tesla's reading wasn't like I have some different things that came through for Scout as well. But more than anything, Tesla, man, powerful stuff, Terry. Tesla is still right by your side and wants us to know that that they're all together. They're all together. Okay, let's talk about Scout, and then I'll take you on this little journey because look at how much time we spent. Okay, so Scout, fearless, laughs in the face of danger, and I could just hear it. Ha ha ha! I laugh in the face of danger. Jody, she wants you to know that you're perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Whatever self-criticism you're giving yourself, she mocks that. She says, you are so perfect just the way you are. As I was doing the reading for Scout, something interesting happened. I became intensely sleepy, like in the middle of the day, which doesn't happen to me. I sat down and I had my little book, I had my little pen, and all of a sudden I just knew that I had to fall asleep. So I don't know Scout's circumstances either, but I got a sense of extreme tiredness. So whether that was towards the end, so I let myself go to sleep. I let myself fall asleep, and I zonked out for a good 15, 20 minutes. And when I woke back up, I started writing all the rest of this stuff. So I came out of the sleep, and the words that I wrote, I'll just give it to you the way that I always do. Everything comes through non-filtered. I don't hold anything back, and I share it with you the way they share it with me. Foot fetish. Don't know, but it came up as foot fetish. I also woke up with a sense of urgency and agitation, as if I had forgotten to do something, or I was supposed to be doing something that I didn't do. And I don't know what that was, but that's the feeling that I got. So I looked for all of those things. So I had this sense of agitation. Also a weird cough, and I felt like my ears were plugged. If you had your fingers in your ears going la 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 la, that's how I felt. So I don't know towards the end of Scout's life if there was anything going on there, but those are the things that I felt. So then I asked for some other things. I asked for just some indication about, just give me some sensations, feelings, thoughts, anything that you want me to share. And I got coyote and turmoil. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by Terry's comment. You are so welcome, Terry. It's all about love. And we're going to talk a little bit more about love next week. I'm going to also mention gratitude, because sometimes love hurts. Sometimes it's when I say fill your heart with love, we start to cry at the loss of the love. So we're going to talk about gratitude, but regardless. So for Scout, coyote came up just out of nowhere. Coyote, and something about, there was some kind of turmoil. I don't know what the turmoil is, but Scout was right in the middle of it. And he or she, I am not certain of Scout's gender. I'm thinking she, but I'm not 100% sure. You can't have deep grief without deep love. They're equal, right? As much as we love, that's as much as we feel sadness when they're gone. Now, so I got coyote, turmoil, and a moldy, musty smell. So a really moldy, musty smell, like under a house. So I don't know if Scout would go under the house. But then here's what Scout specifically said. Irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. Scout said, I can tell you anything. I can show you all kinds of things. I can show you mold. I can show you musty. I can show you under a house. I can tell you foot fetish. I can tell you coyote. I can tell you the cow jumped over the moon. But it's irrelevant. This is what I want everyone to know, and this is what she wants you to know. Scout is a channel. Scout was always channeling. Scout channeled others for you. Scout can channel animals. Scout can channel people. Even right now, when Scout is not physically with you, If you needed to connect with anybody else, you can ask Scout to do it on your behalf. Scout is a very experienced channel and by channel, I mean, is able to connect with other souls on the other side and bring them to you information like I'm doing here. This is essentially what it is. Connecting with animals on the other side, it's called channeling. And it means that they send me information that I am not the creator of the information. I simply share it. I'm the vehicle. I'm the channel. Scout is a channel. That just popped out of my mouth. She has brought many others to you, and she still can. And she will be your partner if you want to channel. If you want to be a channel, as Lucy and Gypsy help me to channel, Scout will help you to channel. And that's the big thing that she wants to share with you, is that if you want to start practicing that she will help you. I hope it's a she, because that's what's popping out of my mouth. She, okay, good. Go Scout. Yeah. And let's see. Then, so I can swear like a sailor, and I generally don't though on video, but I'm just going to give you the words. Scout has no tolerance for bullshit. And that's exactly how it felt. Scout does not want all the mumbo jumbo. Scout just says, you know you can do this. I know you can do this. We're both still together, and let's just go do it. Protector of the baby. I'm not sure what that means at all, but that's what I wrote down. Protector, and not just protector of the baby. Don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever. Orbs. So while orbs were on my mind at the same time that I was connecting with Scout. Orbs have been on my mind now for a couple of weeks. Scout says that she can see orbs. Scout says that all cats can see orbs, because orbs they see more than orbs. They can see the energy of other beings. That's why you can see a cat looking off, and sometimes dogs looking off into a corner, staring at something that isn't there. It happened to me on a video that I was doing that I didn't even know, because I had my eyes closed when those two Weimaraners doing Reiki, and then all of a sudden they're both staring off into the corner, and there was nobody there but me and the dogs. And that's when I realized that they were seeing their other partner dog who had crossed. So they can see. They have different visual perception than we do. So Scout at all times, you probably noticed this, Scout at all times was able to see interdimensional beings, energetic beings. Oh yeah, we didn't bring that up either, that you can come back as aliens. Maybe I did say that. So she sees them, and then the crazy storm blew in. And now the wind is still going, even now. The crazy storm blew in, and it's all about Scout. And I think you might have mentioned that Scout loved storms, which is not normal for most animals. It's usually something distressing to them. Like Gypsy, if I were to take her outside in this wind, she immediately turns back and comes right back in. She won't go out into it. Well, cats are definitely magical. And I'll tell you this one more thing about cats. But the crazy storm blew in. And that's when the thought, actually, I scribbled at the top of the page, but it didn't come in till the end when the storm blew in, which is so crazy. The sky got so dark here. It looks like it's going to storm, but nothing has happened except the wind. But that's when she said she's fearless, laughs in the face of danger, and that you are perfect. I meant she knew I loved storms. Oh, okay. Got it. Well, maybe she sent a storm here for you. I don't know, but that's when the crazy storm blew in. That's still here. And I think that's all I have for Scout. It's just that the most important message that she wanted to give to you. And who just said, somebody said, resonate with Teslas as well. So that's so true, Terry. That is so true. When I do these readings, I sit down in a quiet space. I have a little dark place that I go into, and I turn off, all the lights are off. It's very, very dark. Sometimes I'll put a little thing over my eyes because I don't like any light to sneak in. And I sit down and I ask the animals to come forward, and I begin to write. And when I do, and I do more than one at a time. I like that we do more than one at a time, but sometimes the messages interlink, and sometimes they cross, and sometimes they're meaningful to both. So I'm not surprised at that at all. But somebody said about cats being magical. The other thing that I wrote here is she wants to reiterate that all cats are more than cats. And I think anybody who's ever had a cat in their life knows that. Cats come, as I understand it, cats come back to this incarnation. When they incarnate as cats, they bring with them some of the memories that we can't as humans. So they bring with them knowledge, they bring with them understanding, they bring with them knowing. It's like second nature to Scout to be able to channel. It's not any big deal. Like we make a big deal of it, like, ooh, I can channel. And Scout's like, yeah, y'all can channel. There's no separation for any of us. We are all part of that. We all have this ability to do this. It's whether or not we accept it. And that's a whole topic for another day, how to channel. Okay, so let me take a quick look at comments, and we're going to wrap this one up. Knew she loves storms. Tesla and Scout are strong souls, 100%, for lack of a better word. Yeah, our animal companions, they got it together. They have it together. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. I just share what comes through, and I think what we all want to, it's just the things that we all want to share. And hoping she'd mention Freddie. There was no mention of a Freddie. No mention of a Freddie, but I got to tell you that one of my clients for years and years and years was a cat named Freddie. But Freddie crossed this past summer. Gosh, it's almost going to be a year since that Freddie crossed. There was no mention of Freddie, Jody. I'm sorry she didn't say a thing about Freddie. I could always ask more about that. So when this happens, especially if you decide that you, if you take Scout's advice and try to channel, whenever I get the no, I always look for that as an opportunity to explore more. We would ask more questions. So if we were, and we can do this always one-on-one, Jody, we're in another group together. We would ask more questions is exactly what I would do. I would ask Scout to, what is it about Freddie, or why didn't Freddie come through? Is there something that Scout remembers differently that feels different? I don't know, but right now at the moment, I don't have anything coming through for Freddie. Interesting how the readings with the pets connect with our pets, even though we humans do not know each other personally. Right? But do we know each other personally? There is no explaining. Even though this channel, this YouTube channel, has only been I've only been doing this since January. I have been teaching animal Reiki and animal communication and channeling animals for much longer. And all of the people who come to my classes, we still shake our heads in amazement that we were ever connected. And how do we get connected? There's only one way. The only way we got connected is through our animals. And that happened ages ago. I think I mentioned this last week. I was in corporate and I wanted to get out of corporate. I wanted to work with animals in somehow, some way. And so I did the corporate thing and I hired a business coach. And the business coach said to me, why aren't you asking the animals to bring their people? And I thought, oh, it didn't even cross my mind. And so I did. And so I do. And that's how we all get connected. It's all our animals. Okay, guys, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. There is no coincidences, only coincidence. And I take that from Abraham Hicks. Coincidence. Okay, my friends, have a beautiful evening, night, week. Jody, if you want to connect some more about Scout, we most certainly can. And for any of you guys who have readings, for Tesla, for anybody, if there's ever any more follow-up questions that you want to ask, you reach out, let me know, and I will make sure that happens. All right, my friends, have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful week. I will see y'all again later. See you next week. May animals light your way. Take care.